Lately, I have been noticing something that has really stayed with me, a kind of visible relief on men's faces when I offer even the smallest act of kindness. A smile, holding a door, saying thank you, reassuring a man at the gym after a harmless bump, asking people to make room for a delivery person. Each time, the reactions feel bigger than the moment, almost like they were not expecting kindness at all. One man even looked shocked when I simply acknowledged him for letting me cross the street. So I want to ask the men here directly, do you feel unseen, unappreciated, or unfairly judged in today's world? Has it become rare to receive simple warmth or respect, especially from women? How does this affect you, your sense of masculinity, or your day-to-day emotional state? I am genuinely curious and open to hearing your experiences. Story 1. Lately, I've been noticing something that has really stayed with me, a kind of visible relief on men's faces when I offer even the smallest act of kindness. It's nice to be treated without suspicion or hostility once in a while. Personally, I engage a lot with the same people over the course of my week, so most people, regardless of their gender, are rather friendly and respectful towards me as I am to them. How does this affect you, your sense of masculinity? It has nothing to do with it. People being rude does not change the fact that I am a man, nor does my reputation change that. These are separate things entirely. Do you feel unseen, unappreciated, or unfairly judged in today's world? Yes, but that is just a result of increased hostility and lower trust in society in general. People who know me overall like me more than those who dislike me. Overall, I would say I am doing well enough for myself in that regard. Story 2. This is not really a gendered response, but I love the human connection that happens from little things like this. The car waving, the nods, the door opening, helping someone pick up something they dropped. Those micro connections with strangers bring me more joy than you would think. Story 3. I think most people are lonely and unnoticed nowadays, not just men. Those who disagree believe there are 10 attractive women in the world on their social media feeds and 4 billion average men. Story 4. Where do you live that common courtesy and manners are not normal? Here in the South, most people were raised with manners. When people get on the elevator in my building, they say hello or have a nice day. People hold doors. People smile when you pass them walking on the street, assuming their face is not buried in their phone. I think this reflects more on where you live than anything else. Story 5. I feel seen, generally appreciated, and fairly judged. If anyone is evaluating these categories daily, I suggest their anxiety level is high, but whatever. Generally, no, but it is culturally dependent. It does not in any way. Story 6. It is less about feeling seen and more about feeling empowered than anything. Most of us just want love and a vague sense of direction that does not scream, hey, you're a giant loser, but here is a handful of nonsense to do. You are giving them a concrete positive response to a kind behavior. That is empowering and makes us say, okay, this is a thing I am doing right. Story 7. I don't feel unseen so much as everyone seems to have main character syndrome, totally focused on themselves and oblivious to the world around them. That applies to men and women alike. If anyone actually breaks out of character by acknowledging their fellow human and showing some basic courtesy, I definitely notice and appreciate it. Story 8. You know how some men say they will remember every compliment or gesture they receive because they are that rare? It is like that. It happened to me for the first time a month ago. A water filter fell from my hands in the middle of a city street, but I was carrying many things, so I left it there for 5 seconds. Then a kind woman stopped and went out of her way to pick up the water filter and hand it to me with a smile. I was totally shocked and thanked her happily. I personally work with mostly women and get appreciated in my work, but it feels different when someone you don't know shows respect. So yes, it is very rare to receive kindness, especially from people or women you don't even know. It made me feel hopeful that there are still kind people out there looking out for each other, and it keeps me moving forward even now. Story 9. I think that everyone should be grateful for others' kindness. I don't feel like it is rare to receive basic respect and humanity. I also still smile and say thank you. We are people. If someone does not appreciate others being nice to them, they do not deserve to have others be nice to them. Story 10. I've noticed women hold doors open less often. When one does hold a door for me, it always catches me off guard, and I'm appreciative of it. Another woman recently helped my friend with some advice in the gym. She was very kind and really nice. I'd say it is less common for women to say or do things or engage with men, but not by much. It's rare to receive kindness or warmth from anyone. Really. I try to give a smile and be pleasant to people I meet or interact with so I don't come off moody. It's nice to get that back from other people. It improves my day if someone, man or woman, has a nice chat for a few seconds, lets me use a machine, holds a door, or does something similar. Catches me off guard more with women, but that could be because I generally interact with them less outside of my own friendship group, where they're all really nice. Story 11. I feel like these days a lot of people treat men they do not know with a guilty until proven innocent attitude, and it is nice when there is an interaction that bucks that trend. Story 12. I immediately begin beating them to assert dominance. Not going to lie, this is a kind of a weird question. Politeness is pleasant in the moment, and that is about it. I feel the same, man or woman. Story 13. Yes to all of the above. I understand why women treat men with suspicion or dislike in public. We have earned it over many years with how we have treated women. However, many of us have become self-aware of this and work to treat women equally and often better than we treat men. The acknowledgement of that is a wonderful feeling. Thank you. Story 14. It is nice to be treated like I am not a creature that might attack at any moment. It is also nice to feel like a human being once in a while. It has always been rare to be treated with respect. I rarely expect kindness because it is often met with disappointment. I am always thinking, what if she thinks I am a creep? Which may sound unreasonable given the situations you described, but considering I was called a creep for as little as saying good morning, you can probably understand why most men have those thoughts. Story 15. But that has nothing to do with respect. That is kindness, and everyone who experiences it from strangers feels good because it is unexpected. This is a strange post written by Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Story 16. Not usually. Sometimes I am having a bad day or week, and those types of gestures feel nice. Thank you for being kind. Story 17. I think we are just used to absolute disrespect, acting as if we are worthless and horrible creatures. When someone treats us with respect, it blows our minds. It is not hard to look around and see how much hatred there is towards men today. So when we receive a random act of kindness, it surprises us. Story 18. What a question. It is as if women cannot even accept for a moment that men are actually human. Feminism has so badly damaged Western culture that we are not likely to recover from it anytime soon, at least not during the lifetimes of anyone on this thread. Story 19. I do not really care if you thank me or not when I hold a door open. Why dwell on something so trivial? Story 20. I'm in my 40s now and honestly, women are much ruder these days. You see it all the time. Attitude when a man lets a woman pass, opens a door or offers a seat. There is zero acknowledgement and not even eye contact. This has been common since 2010 onwards. I'm almost in shock if a woman smiles at me as a thank you. It's a once-a-year event, if that. Story 21. A group of women recently started laughing about this particular piece of strange cultural nonsense. They were saying men and women are different and should complement each other's strengths as nature allows in all other species. One even said she loves that men are stronger because it makes her feel safe. Honestly, I felt like I was being set up for something. It bothered me how unusual this thinking has become. Story 22. People are like that with me every day regardless of gender, and it has been that way my whole life. Women smile at me and I smile at them about 10 times a day. That is normal. I am starting to seriously question how much social skills are degrading if this is even a thing. Story 23. A lady working a drive-thru asked me how my day had been and looked right at me. She felt really sincere, like she was actually asking. I was picking up dinner for my parents and just waiting at the window since they were making something fresh for my order. That was probably 2 years ago. A lady at my work would say sir when talking to me. It was nice because I am young, I look young, and other people have called me buddy, which feels disrespectful to me, or at least I just do not like it. I never told her or anyone that, but she was always really nice and respectful to me. I miss working with her, both because of that and because she put in effort at work when others really did not. The world feels somewhat hostile to be in, so when you interact with someone and it does not feel like that at all, even just for a little bit, it is great. Story 24. It is very nice, although at this point I never expect it. I have my wife, my daughters, our very close female friend, and my mother-in-law. Beyond that, I hold no expectations of any civil interactions with women. I used to go out of my way to treat women right, give up my spot, open doors, and greet them politely when meeting or talking to them. Now, I am not rude, but unless it is a little old lady, I do not treat women specially anymore. I treat women the way I would treat a random man, just the way they want. Story 25. You know what women see you as? A potential threat. You are always a potential threat, especially if you are taller or more physically large. They look at you, and when you meet their gaze, they look away and do something else to appear busy. They take a wider path around you to avoid being within your reach. It is more common to see a woman tense up as if she walked past a bear than to have them say thank you when you hold the door. Navigating interactions beyond basic human contact becomes a chore to prove I am not part of the small percentage of male strangers who harm women. So when that difficult task is replaced with being treated like a human being, it is surprising. Story 26. I almost do a double take if a woman is courteous. I am even slightly surprised if a female driver lets me into her lane. Story 27. We are constantly made to feel like we do not matter. Our opinions are not considered valid, and we cannot have an ordinary platonic, innocent conversation without being accused of being creepy. Basically, we are told not to look at, interact with, or smile at people we do not know, lest they take it in a way it is not intended. Anytime we try to express interest in someone in a nice, normal, non-creepy way, we are rebuked for having the audacity to think they may be interested in us and belittled for attempting it when they obviously think we are beneath them. So most of us decide to keep our heads down, eye-centered, avoid eye contact, do not interact, and definitely do not accidentally bump into someone without apologizing profusely. If anyone actually goes out of their way to do something nice or acknowledge we exist, it feels like being seen after years of invisibility. It is so counter to expectations that it is profoundly day-making, as surprising as it seems. Story 28. Might this be a cultural thing? I live in Germany and never really had the impression that the gender conflict was as fierce as it seems to be in America. I feel seen in public and not really judged. I am careful how I act in specific areas like gyms, as I do not want to make others, especially women, uncomfortable during their routine. Aside from that, I do not really feel anything strange. When I am out in the city, shopping, or working, I do not feel women act differently towards me than men do. We hold the doors for each other regardless of gender. Thank you and you are welcome are totally normal and not surprising. So no, I really do not notice what you describe. What I cannot understand are compliments or women openly showing interest in me, like asking for my number because I caught their attention, but that is regardless of gender. Story 29. I am shocked that none of the men even clapped when you held the door open. I am even more surprised that some of the guys here believe this nonsense and share their sad stories about how women do not give them attention. Story 30. It feels great when a woman shows public respect to me. Do you feel unseen, unappreciated, or unfairly judged in today's world? Absolutely. By everyone, not just women. Has it become rare to receive simple warmth or respect, especially from women? Extremely. Most women are very unkind to most men. How does this affect you, your sense of masculinity, or your day-to-day emotional state? It makes me more guarded, a little cynical and jaded. Story 31. Of course, every man will be pleased. I no longer understand girls who are in relationships and publicly try to belittle their partner. I always make a remark because it is not nice to do. I am very glad that there are no such girls in my circle, but when I hear this on the street, I always make a remark and suggest sorting out their problems at home. Story 32. Same. Even just saying hello or being decent, I've noticed men appreciate that. It makes their day. I'm very happily married and am just a kind person. Even if I or they don't speak, I smile politely if I make eye contact with people. I do my best to put out to the world what I hope to get back. Has society sunk that low that people just behaving humanely is a shock? If the information technology professionals at work repair or replace my laptop, I acknowledge them for fast and outstanding service, and they are very appreciative. Feels good being kind and pleasant. Now, if I come across a bad apple, I act as if they don't exist and keep on my way. Story 33. Do you feel unseen, unappreciated, or unfairly judged in today's world? Pretty much. Has it become rare to receive simple warmth or respect, especially from women? Not really. It is just that it is socially acceptable to be unkind to men in general. How does this affect you, your sense of masculinity, or your day-to-day emotional state? All the talk about masculinity feels like a psychological operation. It makes me feel bad when I am treated badly, like it would anyone else. Story 34. It is strange because, on some level, I do not necessarily blame women for this behavior if it is a matter of self-protection. However, the general paranoia of danger that women carry toward men they do not know causes men to typically expect to be treated with suspicion by women they do not know. Story 35. Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with where you live. I've lived in New York City for 20 years. It used to be that when I traveled across the state or across an ocean, it was remarkable how similar people were. Then, in the past 5 to 10 years, when I would leave, it started standing out when women were unexpectedly pleasant. It highlighted how my norms had shifted and made it unexpected. COVID-19 really accelerated things, but even 6 years ago, I don't think many people would say they felt safer and more comfortable with a wild bear than a random man. 20 years ago, they would have sounded like a nutter to the average person. Keep in mind this is anecdotal, and as humans, we suffer from something called frequency illusion. Once you notice something, you start to see it everywhere. Probably because you are now looking. Once I started to notice, I did start paying attention, which also contaminates results, specifically to how people act when navigating doorways, since it is a gender-neutral thing all people have to do and a bottleneck that forces people together impartially. All I can say is that where I am today, it's rare for a man not to have good door manners, either holding the door themselves or acknowledging when someone does. In my experience, it's also really rare for women to have good door manners. The exception is senior citizens, but there is still a difference. Interestingly enough, when I worked nights, it made no difference. Trends didn't change at a bustling 2 p.m. versus a lonely 2 a.m., even though populations did. When I went to Washington, D.C. recently, it was a very different place and people were very normal. It's kind of sad that New York City is actually earning what was once an underserved reputation for rudeness. Story 36. I don't expect kindness. Western society has made it clear that in the last 10 years, I, as a man, am a ticking time bomb of evil or something. So yes, I would be surprised and possibly suspicious. Story 37. I find it as women being courteous and kind. Everyone should return the favor by smiling and saying thank you. Story 38. How does it feel? I will let you know when it happens. There are 5 women left on this earth for whom I would go out of my way. An aunt, a great aunt, 2 cousins, and the daughter of one of those cousins. My mother and grandparents have all passed away, and I have no siblings. I do this because my late father would want me to. The rest of you, I would be banned if I spoke my heart on this. Modern women have been ruined, at least in the West. Story 39. Pretty much a normal experience. Only people who want something tend to choose to interact positively with a man. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.